Hi, I'm Jeff Pagano from Harpin on Rugby. Joining me for this week's bonus chat is someone who needs no introduction on account of over 100 pod appearances, usually for his preview shows. Welcome back to Mr. Neil Keego Keegan.
Good afternoon. Happy Tuesday, I believe it is. We've got a timer on, so you've got me on the clock today to stop me waffling on, but hope all is well and we've all recovered from the weekend.
And I should probably confirm at this point that I've actually had pressed the record button this time. I double checked and triple checked just to make sure. Okay, listen, Keego, I'll tell you what, it's still just over a day since myself, Keno, and Hugo wrapped the France match. So I hope you don't mind if I won't ask you for your thoughts on that just now, because I've harped on it enough for the time being. But what I would like to ask you about is your tweet from shortly after the full-time whistle on Saturday. It said this, IRFU, we love you. But when you price us out of the game, you do not get the noise you need. Every couch in the nation was there for the team, same in every pub, but we couldn't afford to be there. You really need to revisit the pricing policy. Let us into the stadium. Just thought I'd give you a chance to expand on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as we all know, usually post game is not the time to post anything on social media. And for the first time, probably in 44 years, I got the post match post correct. So, we've also got a bit of balance. So, it's been a few days since I posted that. And I've been trying to think about, was I being a bit harsh post match, all that sort of stuff? I think somewhere in the middle, I think I nearly got something right. We've got a balanced business, and the work the IRFU have done have gotten us to this point. They put the players in a position to perform, which is great. And that's what we want. We're sitting at the top table, which is rare for any Irish team in any Irish sport or any sport. Um, but we also want to support that team. So, I was looking at tickets for last November and the Six Nations. Like, technically speaking, two of us here are earning a decent salary, we can afford to go. But like that's a lot of money. Babysitter, food, couple of beers, couple of more beers, all that sort of stuff adds up. And it really does price us out of the game. So when I was saying every couch in the nation was hopping, my house was full. I'm sure a lot of houses were full. Every single pub in Bray was hopping. You could hear the noise as you walk past. So it's not like the audience isn't there. And I understand that they need to make money, but we want to support that team. And I notice it more when things are not going well on the pitch. So when France started coming back on Saturday, that's when supporters support. That's when we get louder. When I hear, whatever it was, 12, 15,000 French people out shouting us, that's annoying. That's
Yeah, it sounded
offensive
like
to
you're in
me.
Paris at some point.
It was offensive to me. I do not like it when that happens. And so that's when we would have stepped in, but we were priced out. So I'm trying to think of ways we can mitigate that because it is a business at the end of the day. Like, I don't know how we would feel about opening up the jersey. I know there's one big sponsorship right in the middle, but maybe two or three more would offset some of the cost, and then we can bring the prices down. Because right now, it's fans in there. It's part of their day. It's not the day. It's not the day out with the family. And I'm not expecting them to do what kind of the provinces do with the 15 quid family tickets for the most part, except for Crow Park. That's a separate issue. I'm not expecting that to happen, but we need to try and do something to get supporters in here because the last thing, I don't want to take over the whole thing here, but when you look at the camera, the shots of the Aviva, the average age was quite high and they looked old. They're not going to be there forever. They need us to take those seats. So, short-term gain for long-term loss at the moment. But it was just really frustrating when I could hear the French making noise, and we didn't respond. So it just made me send that tweet.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, it is a business, but it's a kind of a unique kind of situation. You mentioned the age in profile of the crowd, and we remember back in the days when it was the amateur game, and all the tickets went through the clubs, and a lot of the energy of rugby support was came from your local rugby clubs, and they had to keep that system sort of going through when we came into the pro era. So a lot of the clubs rely on income from those tickets and ticket allocations and stuff like that for the revenue. And so we don't always know who those tickets end up with. But like you say, the prices do keep going up and up and up over the years. But what's happened since then is we've had the provincial game as well. So the real fans who would know the game the best, who would support the best, who would who would know when to cheer, when not to cheer, and know what's going on in the game. They've all got provincial season tickets now as well. So not only is the price of the test tickets going up, but they're spending a lot of money on their provincial jerseys and the provincial season tickets and going week in, week out and getting those babysitters and doing that on the week in, week out. So it's become a much bigger expense for the fans. So I think we are entitled to at least have a conversation about what we hear as the atmosphere in the stadium.
Oh, 100%. And listen, as we know, the Irish are not great at balancing the books, as we remember way back in the day. So eventually this is going to burst as well. And like I just think you look at what's happening with Manchester United and how they've bloated and ruined everything for themselves. Not that we're going to go down that road, but eventually the bubble bursts. Eventually there's a period of realignment with the team and players coming through and all that sort of stuff. Maybe some results don't go our way. And then a lot of the people who are going now through work or whatever, they don't ask for those tickets through work anymore. So their workplace won't put in the 2 grand for 10 tickets or whatever it is. All that money disappears. So like there has to be a way around this. Now it's not and it's also got to be balanced. So we're not going to get in for free. We're not going to get in for cheap. We just need it to be reasonable and sensible. That's all it is. And like the clubs, the clubs are in a tough position as well because they get these tickets and they know the value now behind these tickets. So they can say to a local business, now I'm not saying that any club does this because I'm not too sure if it's against the rules or not, but they can turn around and say, right, we've been given 10 tickets. We can give them to the local AIB or local bank down the road for X amount, which pays for, new posts, new jerseys, new equipment, a new part of the clubhouse. Like that's how this thing is going. And it's again taking tickets away from the supporters. And like it's great for local businesses, and I don't think that's what the IRFU are trying to do. They're not trying to prop up the local pub, but that's what's happening. We all want to be in that stadium. Outside of a fluke, I will not be able to go to an Ireland rugby match, which is terrible because my old man used to bring me to rugby matches. There was a rite of passage that we all went through, and I know it was dark times back then. I'd love to bring my kids to an Ireland match. I just can't do it. I can't do it. So there's a huge amount of people who do not have access to the game. Forget about me. Forget about the old man. Bringing the kids along. That would be massive for them to see a screaming stadium of green, shouting on Ireland, singing the 2 songs, all that sort of stuff, which is all part of us growing up. It's just not on the cards for the kids now, and it's just a bit sad. And it's with a little bit of thinking, and I know I'm not one for thinking that often, but with a little bit of thinking, we can navigate this in a very, very smart way for long-term investment improvement and continuing improvement in Irish rugby in the big jersey, which would be fantastic to see with the kids in the stadium.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like you're not offering suggestions. I mean, like for example, maybe a couple more. They once they know that they can sell out at the price they are. I mean, they don't want to lose that revenue. I mean, I don't think anyone disputes that. But they can offset it with other things, like you say, more things in the jersey. It doesn't have to end up like Formula One, where it's plastered all over with names. There's just a couple more certain places, maybe bringing a bit of money. But also maybe a system that appreciates what I said about what the provincial fans are spending. Like, so I know some football clubs, whatever, have a points-based system where when you buy tickets regularly, you accumulate points, and that gets you priority and special prices for the big tickets coming up. Is it there are ways of doing it, and there are ideas out there. And this is a conversation. We're not here to like bash the IRFU. They've had a complicated job transitioning from the amateur game to the pro game, and we have seen a lot of success with it. But there's these little bits on the fringes. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Man United there because it is kind of becoming almost like a prawn sandwich kind of situation where you've got fans in there who do want to go to the game. They do want to shout for Ireland. They may not be as knowledgeable, and they're not generating the atmosphere we know we can get from proper fans. So it's definitely worth talking about.
100%. People are blaming the stadium. The stadium is great. Certainly, if you remember the old stadium, it was cold even when it was warm outside and all that. It's a great stadium. It's a great infrastructure. The staff are brilliant. The issue with the noise has nothing to do with the stadium or the hole in the roof. It's the people in there. You know what I mean? The infrastructure is there for us to get in there and make noise. we just want to get in there and make noise. But it's not the stadium's fault that it's quiet. It's not the staff's fault. It's not the price of booze fault. It is the people who are in the stadium, and it is just at the end of the day, they are. It's, as I said, it's part of their day, and that's fine. I would love to be in a position where I could spend 140 quid on a ticket and have it be part of the day, but most of us are not in that position, and we are the people who want to get in there. And it's when things are going wrong. I know it's a rare occurrence in this jersey, which is great, which also shows the work the IRF are doing. As you say, we're trying to say to them, look, we know you're selling out at X, but let's bring it down a wee bit, and we can bridge the gap somewhere. If you say that to any business anywhere around the world, they're going to tell you where to go. There's no need for them to change anything. The accounting, the spreadsheet tells the story. But like at the end of the day, against France, which it's a rare example, as I said, but when they started moving forward, when the subs came on, you guys covered it. That's when you and I are needed. That's when, all the people who you were talking to the other day in your review, that's when we are needed. And we're not expecting freebies, but we're expecting to get in there and push that team, give them a little adrenaline spike. They can see us screaming, old bald man screaming in stands. This is what the team needs in tough times. And it's grand when the World Cup is on. That's grand. The people who can afford to go will go and make noise because they're on holiday. Everyone makes noise on holiday. We've got to make noise at home as well.
Absolutely. Well, listen, it's a complicated subject, but definitely one we should be having an honest conversation about. I mean, if you're watching this and you have your own thoughts, by all means, leave a comment. Have we offered good suggestions? Do you have other ones, or do we even need to be discussing this at all? I mean, do let us know. And of course, as ever, smash those like and subscribe buttons, or you know what? Even just click them if you think smashing might do some damage, But anyway, man, listen, we're going to leave it there. Many thanks for joining us, Keego. Hopefully
Cheers.
we'll see you back again for our next preview show soon. Thanks, man.
Cheers.